Hi guys, I'm Grace.
And I'm Natalie, and this is Sunday Slipstream.
Sorry guys, we took 2 weeks off because...
I was sick.
Life was like a hot mess, but we are back fully ready to jump into this crazy season.
And we're going to cover Japan and Bahrain because we are behind.
And I think everything kind of correlates together. And
considering how boring Japan was, is there really not much to cover.
Everyone took a nap.
Everyone's just like, all right, single file.
We made a viral post on Sunday Slipstream's Instagram, and I think everybody was like, yeah, we all fell asleep lap 7, so it's okay, we didn't miss anything. And we all know, for all the overtakes that didn't happen in Japan, Bahrain made up for that tenfold. Everything was happening.
A lot. Oh my gosh.
And I think like at this point, everybody's kind of overviewing all the last few races and like letting that be their assumptions into what this season is kind of looking like.
We're 4 races in, so
exactly.
we're starting to see trends at this point for the season.
Yes. And where do we even start? At the top of my list right now, it just says Lando. And
I can't wait to hear your rant because you used to be a Lando girly.
Here's the thing. I am a McLaren girly. Like, I don't think the hate towards him is necessary. I think a lot of it is just people just don't like to see new people winning. I don't think he deserves the hate. I think a lot of it is forced. But needless to say, I'm not a Lando fan, but I am more so, I would say, an Oscar Piastri fan right now. And that's not to say again that I like hate Lando or anything like that. But I am a little bit exhausted with his current narrative, and I think so many people are right now. Like, I don't get it. What is happening?
I don't know if like
I can't drive anymore. The car. Oh, Max. Like if Max got in the car, he would have a rude awakening. I just can't figure this out.
And again, that would be fine if Oscar was struggling too.
Exactly.
But he's not.
Exactly.
Like I said that to you in a text about how the fact that like Oscar is saying that the car is probably the best on the grid right now. Right. And then Lando's just like, I can't do it. Like, I'm not doing it right. Something's wrong with, like, the way that it's driving for me. Right. Whatever. But, like, you can't tell me that, one, because of the weird papaya rules crap that they've always done, you can't tell me that they're not treating those cars exactly the same right now.
Oh, yeah.
100%. You know, there's no way that, like, one car is taking precedence over the other one like we're seeing with other teams already.
Right. And I saw Gunter Steiner on his podcast kind of make a note, I saw him make a comment like pretty soon here he thinks like McLaren's gonna have to step in and be like because at some point, like he said, like the engineers in the garage, the people who are working day in day out, even longer than the drivers are working on things, how many times are they gonna want to hear their star driver be like, oh, the car is, I can't work it, I can't figure it. They've handed you like all of their blood, sweat, and tears. The car is amazing. How many times are they going to put up with the whole, it's not the best in the field, Ferrari's actually real close to us, as they? Like flounder in 9th place. And it's just like, please, like I can't do this. And then the whole like, he's like getting on George recently, and George needs his own moment soon. But
I love George.
Like Lando can't seem to stand him. Like just I'm not. I know that they're friends. Like actually, and I know that most of it's banter. But he does seem to be rubbed the wrong way by George Russell. And
it's almost like he's already getting in his head about stuff.
Oh, 100%.
And he's letting it, not just like self-deprecation like he usually does, but he's like tearing himself down. Yeah. To the point where someone's just like, you can't blame yourself, so then he blames the car.
Right.
And it's like, you can't just blame yourself because, you know, at the end of the day, there are things that you don't know about your car.
Right. And
you know, it's a new season.
Valid.
He's still learning it. You know, your tires might be different than you're used to. Your steering wheel changes every season. So good luck with that, you know? Like, I mean.
Right. No, and 100%. And I think, at least back on the George thing for a second, I think a little bit of it is, again, George will get his own moment, but I think it's like so many things accidentally come to George Russell. And a lot of things like just kind of work in his favor. And I think Lando might be a little bit annoyed and maybe even, I don't want to say jealous because that's a big word to put on someone, but just at least annoyed with him about that, how he can just kind of be so lackadaisical. And even with Oscar, I mean, obviously Oscar we know has, that's his entire personality. And I think Lando gets, and there's nothing wrong with it, but Lando gets a lot more emotionally moved by Air. And so I think like maybe that's just very annoying to watch some of his rivals, if you will.
Rivals/friends.
Just kind of have it a little bit easier knowing that he's put 7 years into McLaren. Now when it's good, he can't get the handle of it. And that is probably frustrating. But I am like hearing now what I was like fully like Lando trained. And I still am, again, not like I don't pray on his downfall. But I am hearing the complaints of other people who are now like, okay, this is getting annoying. Like, how many times are we going to have to hear, woe is me, like...
Right.
Like,
I mean, there's only so much pity we can give to a person when they don't put in the effort to do better.
Yes, and it's like, I don't know how much more he want. Like, I heard a good analogy, again, I think on the Gunter Steiner podcast, they were like, Lando's giving, like, if he has this ginormous trust fund and he's complaining about the management of it, he's like, oh, all the paperwork, and it's just like, I can't feel bad for you. Yes.
Like, at the end of the day, like, since my career is HR, someone who is refusing to do their job well and then blaming the job is not suited for that job. And at the end of the day, it's either your manager comes and talks to you and tells you to get your act together, or you get replaced. And if you're only going to complain day in and day out, you are not a good employee. Right. And at the end of the day, these are jobs for these people. Like, it's a privilege that they get to do it, but they're working. This is a job. They get paid to do this.
We see how fast they get replaced.
Exactly. I mean, poor freaking Liam Lawson. Goodness gracious. That poor kid. Like, imagine, like, sitting in a room with Helmut Marko. First of all, gross. Imagine that for a second. And then, like, add Christian Horner to that mix, and you're like, oh gosh. But, like, imagine sitting in a room with Christian Horner and Helmut Marko, and it's only 2 races in, and they're like, honey,
so
I don't think you're gonna make it.
Like, when they were like begging for you 8 weeks ago.
I know, right? Like, oh yeah, we made the right decision. Like, we're completely confident in Liam and his ability, and then like 2 seconds later, like, fun.
Right.
Yuki looks pretty good right now. It's like that meme where like the guy and the girl are holding hands, and then he's like looking back at the other person.
That's literally all of Red Bull, and
that's all of Red Bull.
If we're pivoting to Red Bull, it's just like, how bad of a look is this on Red Bull that the guy? It's almost worse right now that Yuki basically, if it wasn't for Max getting lucky with the safety car in Bahrain, Yuki would have outplaced him. He was ahead of him. Max was in a real P20th during that race. Obviously, he worked his way.
He was struggling.
Exactly, but Yuki is arguably doing well. He's doing well. I mean, in the at least with that car. And I feel like that is even worse of a bad look on Red Bull, that the guy that they've overlooked for years. And now they're just putting him in because they have no other choice. Oh, actually, he does look good. Whoops. Like,
oops. Yeah. We didn't think he could do it before. Maybe it's
exactly.
Like,
exactly.
I hate to.
We only
hate to pull the Helmut Marko's racist card again, but
if the shoe fits, and if the shoe keeps fitting, so what else are we gonna do?
My gosh, what am I gonna do? I mean, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a freaking duck.
Helmut Marko and Christian Horner. It's like when Red Bull has to pick between racism and sexism. There is no silver lining in that camp, and
there's none.
We know it. Apparently, Max didn't even go to like the team, like
the debrief or whatever.
Yeah, like he like said,
he just went home.
No, he like publicly was like, I don't even want to hang out with the team anymore. And I was like, oh my word. I mean, obviously, like,
I mean, man's got a lot going on outside of his own in his own life, you know.
Yeah. But and I don't know. It's just like, it just seems like there's no kind of light at the end of the tunnel for them. Apparently, Imola is when they might get upgrades, but then apparently those upgrades are.
But what are they going to do with upgrades at that point? Because they already don't know how to use their freaking car.
That's the thing. And it's like upgrades at that point, I think it's going to be too late.
Like they should have given Yuki his upgrades before his home race.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just...
I bought so many Red Bulls for this boy.
It's like, yeah, we are funding him. He deserves it. But I'm kind of all over the place right now, but kind of back on the Lando thing. It's just so funny to me how James Vowles is like the complete opposite of Lando Norris. When he's doing his interviews, like, Carlos has a DNF, and James Vowles gets on and he's like, so Carlos had a DNF, and while that is very disappointing, we will be back on top. And like he's using so like, glass is always half full for James Vowles, whereas Lando Norris,
it comes to like team management and like team morale.
Yeah.
You know, like, how do you want to conduct your team? Do you want it to feel like a dictatorship, like Red Bull? Do you want it to be all buddy all the time, like Zach Brown? Or do you want it to be like critiques but confidence, like James Vowles? And that's what we see. Like, you know, like Carlos had a DNF. First of all, he's having a bad season. I don't care. I had so much hope for Carlos. And I don't know if it's just that, like, he was only good in a Ferrari or not at this point. You
I
know?
think I mean, my only silver lining was that he seemed pretty confident with the fact that, like, it's just going to take some time.
I was so upset that he DNF'd at this race, though, because he was doing so good on testing at Bahrain.
Well, and so, like, Yuki, in typical Yuki fashion, like, destroyed his car.
I know.
I wonder, like, that's another reason why, you know, Red Bull delayed moving up Yuki, because he is very volatile.
Oh, absolutely.
And so my question is like, I wonder if they're going to actually have a problem with it if he doesn't
calm down
or, like, make results. Like,
yeah,
if he gets to the top, I don't think they'll care if he destroys half the grid. But,
true.
Because Max can do whatever, so he can probably do whatever if he brings them money. But if he, like, isn't getting in the points, I wonder how long they're going to, like, put up with him. Like,
right. When are they going to bring in an academy driver?
Yeah. Yeah. Really.
Like, I don't even know who their reserve drivers are at this point. You know,
but I
like,
heard that there was chatter about that, like, when other things weren't working out. But anyway, so whoever James Val's therapist is, call Lando up, or at least, like, whoever his immediate trainer is.
I don't know. I feel like it's just that Lando needs to grow up. Like, I'm so much older than most of these guys on the grid. Like, Carlos and I are the same age. So it's like, it's so weird to me that so many of them are so young. And, like, you can tell that they're young. Yeah. And they've been in this career for so long. Yeah. And it grates on them.
Sure.
Because they've been in a job since they were, like, 13.
Right.
It's a lot of work for people.
So draining. So much public pressure. And, again, so it's not like I'm hating on him, but I also just, like, don't have the energy to care anymore.
Well, my issue with it is that, like I said, he kind of needs to grow up a little bit. Yeah. As weird as that sounds, it sounds kind of rude. No. But, like, half of the drivers on the grid are the same age as him, struggle more than him.
Yeah.
And are perfectly content. Like, look at, like, freaking, Ollie Bierman, and he's just like, I finished a race. Like, sweet little lad.
Exactly. Yes.
Like, he's just there for the good time at this point, you know?
Exactly. And I think when you're blessed with a car that you might not ever get again, we don't know what 26 is going to do for McLaren for anyone.
For Aston Martin's just waiting for 26 at this point. They're like, that's going to be our year.
They're arguably worse than Sauber right now. Like, what is happening?
It's because they don't care. Yeah, like, Fernando's like, I've had a really good career. This is my retirement career. And Lance is just like, I'm already making money. It's fine.
Yeah, he's
like, Dad?
Yeah. He's like,
like, he sticks to who he is. Like, he is so funny right now on social media. He's cracking me up.
I'm like, I don't mind him on so. It's just, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Him and, okay, talk about kind of softening the public, if you will. I never hated George Russell. I never thought about George Russell. I now love George Russell. That's
I knew
my statement.
I'd get to you. I knew it.
Literally, I don't know what has been going on. Just the man is everything to me.
I've got the T-pose on my
She's got the T-pose. You elaborate on George. What's happening with George Russell right now? Like,
so George is being extremely consistent right now. I mean, I saw that his last 5 races, he's finished in the top 5.
Yep.
Which is phenomenal.
Yep.
You know, and we're only 4 races into this season, so I mean, clearly it's counting last season.
Right,
but like, he's doing great. He's very consistent, and I think part of it is that his teammate is no longer in the limelight.
Yep.
He has a young teammate who's looking to him for leadership. Not necessarily leadership, but as inspiration or like as someone to look at because he's his teammate.
Of course.
He's driving the same car as him. He can learn from him.
Right.
And it's almost like...
I've seen people say, like, he was so distracted by Lewis Hamilton, like, when he was there, as one would be by somebody who, so...
I mean, you walk into a room and you see George next to Lewis Hamilton, and everyone goes to Lewis Hamilton, and you're like, that kind of sucks.
Right.
You know, like, being overlooked all the time, and now being the first seat on a team, I think that he is really succeeding this season. 1, because his team is paying better attention to him.
Yeah.
2, because he's more confident in his team and in his car.
Yeah.
And I think also he just has the drive to win this season. I think he just really wants to do well. And I don't necessarily know if he wants the world championship or if he just is using this season as a way to get up to it.
Right.
But his contract's up at the end of the year, so he's probably trying to make sure that his seat is saved.
Well, I've heard rumors that he's signed a 2-year extension. I don't know.
That would be good.
I mean, I don't know
I haven't seen that confirmed, but...
Yeah, it definitely isn't confirmed. It's just more paddock rumors, but... I don't know, because Toto all of a sudden seems to be content with him, as he should be, I guess. I mean, he's
doing well.
Yeah. And there's now conversations that George is in this 3-way title fight with McLaren. So...
I mean, for real, though. Like,
yeah. I mean, no one else is bothering the 3 of them. When Lando...
No, their points are so much higher than everyone else's right now.
at this point, Lando's in his own way, Oscar's on his own path, and George is
Oscar's literally just so uncaring about it. He's just like, if I win, I win. Yes. He's so funny. He'll win like the world championship, and I'm like,
yeah. I saw a reel, and it was like Oscar post race. I've never seen him happier. He literally was.
I saw one where it was just like Oscar when he loses.
Yeah.
Oscar when he wins.
Yeah. Literally. And honestly, I mean, a lot of things, I guess everyone says it, but I feel like sometimes you don't see it play out. But I think so much of sports, so much of life, whatever, it really does come down to the mentality. And at least at this point in time, I think Oscar just is a cut above the mentality, because you will continue to get in your own way. Like you just will. And the fact that I think I've seen it kind of happen, and I've also heard it been said, like Lando, we are not negating the man's talent. The man can drive, and when it is his day, I think he's one of the top drivers. But the thing is that when he does have a bad day,
he lets it get to him.
Yeah, we spiral.
If he has a bad qualifying, he tumbles for the next day.
Drives into the pit lane. Like, that happened second race of the season, I think. He said, oh yeah, I messed up the first corner, so I ditched the lap. Meanwhile, Piastri said, oh yeah, I messed up the first corner, but I made it up in the last corner. He got on pole and
just
won
keep
the
going.
race.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's just the little things where that's the mentality
behind
it. I mess up, I quit. No, I mess up, I keep going. And it's just little things like that I think that's just gonna be.
It's that perseverance. Yeah. And like we see that with a lot of the drivers though, because like if Charles Leclerc has a really bad day, you can see it in how he races the next day.
Yeah.
Especially during qualifying or during a sprint race or something like that. You can see that it screws up his mentality for the next day, because one, he's used to being the Prince of Ferrari.
Right.
He is used to being the golden child. He's used to being watched nonstop, and now he has a teammate who's getting all that attention.
And on that, Fred Vasseur, like, people are upset at him for saying that. Well, at least Charles fans are like, oh, you shouldn't have aired him out like that. But Fred Vasseur basically said, I think there's a little bit of jealousy right now with Charles and Lewis, obviously. But whereas he knows that Lewis is, where the team's looking right now.
Which is so funny, because Lewis is so more concerned with his freaking media tour than he is about his freaking car. He was like, Ferrari, can you get me an 8th win? And they're like, sure, 8th place, every single race, you got it.
And he doesn't even care, because he's just like co-chairing the Met Gala, which like, good for him. But it's just like,
But what's more important right now, your freaking job or your media tour?
Exactly, that's, yes. Yeah, and for right now, it seems like the media, the TikTok that he now is on, like, I just feel like he's, the merch that he was so worried about, I feel like he's here to, like, there's nothing wrong, I guess, with wanting to, like, reinstate your name for the generations, whether or not you're going to be in a sport or not. People are going to remember Lewis Hamilton, and I think he's trying to cement that. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like,
but I would rather be, if I was a driver, I would rather be remembered for being a good driver, than for having a freaking Vogue cover,
exactly,
or like a stupid Ferris Bueller's Day Off commercial.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, again, no one's negating anyone's accomplishments, but like, no one's gonna remember that he was in Vogue like 10 years from, like,
no one's gonna care,
and
no one's gonna care,
and it's, again,
people are gonna remember him for being a 7-time world champion and for having a stupid vegan dog.
Yeah, that is going to be our memory of dear Lewis Hamilton. And
imagine like being on the Ferrari team and being in charge of watching the dogs when the racers, when the drivers are racing or whatever, and you have to like be careful not to let Roscoe near Leo's food.
Yeah, that's someone's like part-time job.
That's their job. That's our full-time job.
What's his name? Roscoe's kale, and the other one's like
steak. Yeah, he gets like Wagyu steak.
Right from Arnello.
Oh yeah,
they ship it in from Ferrari.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like Leo's on a solid Mediterranean diet, and then Roscoe's still getting used to Italian food instead of British food.
On that note, can we talk about, everyone, at least my TikTok feed is all about this, and I've actually been muting it because there is a point of like the drama of the drivers that I really don't care, but people are yapping about how Charles on his Instagram, how you have Instagram highlights, he had like tons of Instagram highlights of like Ferrari through the years, like you could flip through, see like old Carlos, so everything, like all this scene. He deleted all of them, and now it's only Roscoe. Not Roscoe, Leo. Yeah. And I'm like,
do you think Charles is gonna be looking for a new team?
I don't. The problem is like everybody's kind of locked because no one knows what 26 looks like, but I think it is a statement that he's annoyed. Like, old Ferrari maybe doesn't hold all the, like, love that it used to for him.
I mean, he was their prince. He was their golden child. And now they're like, Lewis.
And he was their prince for when they've never given him results. Like, never. They've always screwed him over, but he was always there for him. There for them. And now he's still there, but now there's a new man in town who's worried about the Met Gala. And he's probably working day in, day out, and now it's probably like, to hell with this, if you will. Like,
I mean, it's almost like when you, going back to my HR stuff, but it's like when you have a really good employee who gets no recognition, and then a new hire comes on, and they get all the benefits that the tenured employee doesn't get, and they notice it because there's no law against talking about your salary or anything like that. So like, imagine that's your situation. You've been an employee for like 10 years, and a new hire comes in getting the same role as you, but they're making twice your salary and they're getting more benefits than you, so like extra PTO and stuff like that. You would feel ripped off by your company. 100%. And you would go talk to them, and then they'd be like, well, we had to incentivize their coming here. To justify it, as if you're not worth it. And that's exactly the situation that we're seeing right here. That's such an
interesting perspective. You're so right. But no, genuinely, and you gotta, again, I don't consider myself necessarily a Charles Leclerc fan. I don't consider myself a Charles Leclerc hater.
I'm not a Ferrari fan at all. I can guarantee you that.
If he wins, kudos to him. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But you gotta feel bad for the man right now.
Like, I mean, I think the difference is that when Charles wins, he actually earns it. Whereas, like, if Lewis wins, it's probably by sheer luck.
At least,
which is how it was for George last season. You know, George did not win from his own merit. He won from luck last season. And
everyone was like, how did he get
exactly. He even said it in interviews. He's like, I'm just waiting for the people in front of me to mess up. Like,
he knows who he is.
He knows who he is. He knows his limits. But this season, he's stepping up because he doesn't want to be the person who's waiting for the downfall of others. He's trying to show that he's doing well. But you don't see that with the Ferrari team at all. You see them being so used to having it easy, and no one really fighting against them, because in 2023 it was the year of Max. And then in 2024, for the first half of the season, it looked like another Red Bull season. And then out of nowhere, McLaren swoops in with the constructors, and you're like, wow, okay. And it's like, this season is all up in the air now, and we're not really sure how it's going to play out, because Red Bull's not at the top right now, and that's weird.
And I think
really weird.
I think that is like probably the hardest part for Charles, because now any interview he's ever in, he wants a World Drivers' Championship. I mean, that's what everyone wants, obviously, unless you're like a Stroll.
I feel like Lance is here for the vibes. He's just like, well, I can't pass anyone at Japan, so I'm just gonna hang out back here. He's just like, I wonder what I'm having for dinner tonight.
No, but like, genuinely, it's probably hard for him to see there is potential on the table, but with this team, I genuinely don't think that's ever going to be possible. And anyway, like,
the only way that either Charles or Lewis is going to succeed this season is if Ferrari goes back to actually prioritizing one over the other. And that's the only way they're going to do it.
And even then,
that doesn't mean they're going to win.
And I texted you this. I said, for as media trained as Lewis is, as he's on Vogue, he's historically done incredibly smart business deals, whatever you want to say about him. I don't know how Ferrari was considered a good business move for him, because I haven't even been in F1 that long, and I know the history of course, I've obviously not been there for the entire history of Ferrari, but it doesn't take much research to find Ferrari has never suited.
I can tell you why it was really a good business move. I can tell you exactly why. Because he got a lot of media attention for leaving a team that he'd been with for 12 years. He went to a very well-known brand. Regardless of how well they do, they're a very well-known brand globally. He is making waves in the fact that he is a world champion who's tired of his old team and trying to give a new team a chance. He's playing it up as if he's a gift to Ferrari. Instead of Ferrari benefiting him. He's saying he's going to benefit Ferrari. That's why it's a good business move for him. All of his media that he's been getting this year, as soon as he locked in with Ferrari, his personal media skyrocketed. That's why it's a good business move. That's why all of his... it is this but it's not type of brands where it's like it's alcohol but it's not, it's food but it's not, like it's meat but it's not, like all of his it is but it isn't type of brands are doing really well because he's getting more media attention.
Yeah.
And that's why it was a good move for him. Not necessarily for his career, but for himself.
Yeah, because when you're thinking about it, like I feel like, of course, no one's going to forget Lewis Hamilton, but he definitely, no one really cared. The Mercedes and him were like floundering a little bit.
Exactly.
Like, and I think
it comes to the fact that he was peaking.
Yeah.
He peaked.
Yeah.
And then he's starting to age out.
Yep.
And he doesn't want to be known as the driver who aged out.
Yeah. He wants
to play it up.
Did a new thing,
and I can almost guarantee you that he has this long contract that is, 5 years or something like that? He has a long contract, but I can almost guarantee, I am predicting it right now, that he is going to drop it.
Oh,
because he has enough money now.
Oh, yeah.
And he's had money.
Right.
But he has all of these other deals that he's working on behind the scenes that he doesn't need F1 anymore. It's going to also make him blow up again as gave Ferrari a chance. Yep. It didn't suit him. He's out.
You're right.
And he's going to play it up as if Ferrari's the villain and he's not.
You're right. Versus, wait, you're right, because Ferrari's actually the perfect scapegoat because they've done this a million times.
Exactly.
Whereas if he left, Mercedes would be like, oh, the old guy.
What better way of leaving your career than to blame the team that you went to instead of your own deficiencies?
Wait. That's literally what's... Because I literally have been like, there's no way... Like, we all can kind of see, like...
Let me just psychoanalyze.
Wait. And at the same time, people have been saying, like, this is actually good for Mercedes, too, because even Gunter Steiner was like, I think Mercedes also wanted a breath of fresh air, as sad
Absolutely.
as, you know,
they needed to.
Yes. And look how good it's doing for them.
I mean Kimi's also doing really well this season.
Yeah.
Like, what, top 10 each race?
Exactly. He's
doing really well, especially as a rookie.
Mm-hmm. And in that pass he did on Max Verstappen,
I know, phenomenal.
I was like, okay, King.
I was like, queen.
Yes, and anyway, wait, you just like literally changed the game because I think everyone.
I genuinely feel like that's what's happening.
Yeah, because I know we have a lot of Lewis Hamilton fans, and I think no matter which way you look at it, of course, everyone said it's going to take them a while to learn the car, but I feel like it doesn't really matter because he hasn't been extremely impressive in Mercedes for a while either. Like the past few years. Of course there were other factors, of course whatever, but I think for even Toto said himself, he's getting older. Yeah, and however way you want to look at that, I feel like this maybe was just...
Why not blame the team that has a history of getting rid of really good drivers?
Wait. And like ruining their career, like Lewis Hamilton's career ruined by Ferrari.
You turn it into
Lewis
a victimization situation. You play the victim, and you still get all those brand deals because it's now in his name. It's no longer associated with the team that he was with.
100%.
You noticed that too, right? Because as soon as he left Mercedes, he's dropped everything connected to Mercedes and only went with things that only work with Lewis Hamilton.
Yes.
He doesn't have Ferrari Hamilton branding. Right. He has Hamilton branding who works at Ferrari.
Right. Wait. Okay, my mind just got blown because I was like, there's no way with all of his smart business decisions this would be a good decision for his driving career, but it's not.
Intentionally, in my opinion.
He's literally playing chess and we know he likes to do that.
Yes, he has multiple moves ahead.
Okay.
And Fred Vasseur is not catching up.
He's happy as a clam right now for no reason. I'm like, Fred.
Oh, Fred. We love Fred. He's so funny to me. But I also feel like part of the whole brand thing with Lewis right now is that he's not making a competition with Charles. He's doing it just as like reaping the benefits that Charles Leclerc is
literally
feeling like threatened by it.
Wait, because literally where was it? Japan? No, China. I think it was China. Yeah, China.
Shanghai.
Yeah. The whole water. No, it was when Charles broke his front wing, and he literally had
Japan.
Oh,
was that Japan? I don't remember.
Whatever. Charles broke his front wing, and everyone was like, "How is Charles faster with the front wing?" Well, when you look at the data, Charles was definitely not faster. He was actually losing points of downforce significantly, whatever. But Lewis Hamilton on the radio was like, I think, you should let Charles pass me. And everybody, all Charles fans were like, oh, what a nice thing for Lewis. And so, like...
Blessings.
I can't stand it, but whatever.
Thoughts and prayers.
But you're so right. Like, he's literally just, like, clip farming for Like,
he is branding himself.
Yes.
He's not branding the team like he did with Mercedes.
You're so right. Wait. Oh my word.
Let me just psychoanalyze these guys like it's my career.
Literally.
Oh wait, I have a psychology degree.
Wait. Okay, we need more psychology. If you ever need a driver to analyze, DM us.
We will psychoanalyze everyone. Speaking of people DMing us, you get so many DMs about Max.
Who?
Max.
Oh, yeah.
I think Max is going no chance. You get so many hate DMs though on your personal account and I'm sure on our Slipstream account.
Yeah.
Because we're opinionated and people don't like that.
I don't mind it. But yeah, everybody's saying like, okay, Max is definitely going to be going to Aston Martin. I
can't agree with that for even a second.
What performance over the past, not even
Aston Martin?
races, 3 years has Aston Martin
Martin is their theory.
And I understand they're getting the Honda part. That's everybody's argument. The Honda partnership. He wants the Honda partnership.
But like Lance Stroll's never gonna get replaced, and Fernando's gonna die in that car.
And even if they kick Fernando out, Max Verstappen is not going to be pulling a Carlos Sainz and like bootstrapping the team on his back. He doesn't have time. He doesn't care. The car has been bad for 6 months. And
at least since Checo gave Toto his receipts.
Exactly. And he's ready to dip. Like the car's obviously bad for 4 races. Out. He's done. No way is he putting up with a year of the come up of Aston Martin. No, I don't. But we don't
need Field of Dreams moments. Honestly.
Exactly. Like no way is he doing that.
If you build it, they will come. Like, no, they won't.
Exactly. He even has like subtly been like, there's a lot of like old people here. Like I'm not doing this past 30. Like
if Max moves anywhere, I can almost guarantee it's going to be to Mercedes because Toto is waiting to snatch him up.
Right. And
Toto will sideline a rookie to get Max Verstappen.
See, I think Toto's like all in on Kimi. I think it's gonna be George, know. But allegedly the comments is like he's fine with George.
The difference now though is that George is now performing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Kimi's performing too, but he's a rookie.
Right. I think
honestly Kimi's on a year-to-year contract.
The only person in my DMs that I think, was right was when they said Max is probably going to do like Le Mans, like he wanted to do 24 hours of Le Mans. Like he might just genuinely jump to a new series and be like, hey, I'm done with this. Like,
hey, you never know.
He said that was his dream. Like he wanted to at least do that once. And so I think he might. I don't think it's going to happen soon, but I think...
Imagine Max Verstappen retires as soon as his child is born.
Genuinely. Like, I just don't think the next big move for Max Verstappen is necessarily going to be an F1. Like,
is he going to be the next Nico Hulkenberg, where his, kid is giving him insight on the radio? You just hear his kid chattering on the radio. That's so cute.
I feel like Max is going to, never let his child touch F1. I mean...
I feel like that's true, though, because look at how it turned out for him.
Exactly.
He wins, but at what cost?
Exactly. And we all know, yeah.
And we know how y'all's Verstappen is.
Exactly.
We don't need to keep talking about toxic men at Red Bull.
The cycle will forever. Did you see him post-race last... Everyone's calling him schizophrenic. He was genuinely... It was laughing because you might cry if you don't. He was insane. He was just kind of it was actually kind of weird. Most people exaggerate, but I was kind of okay, the man has kind of lost the plot. I think Red Bull was breaking him. They were just asking you, and he was just he was literally giggling, and it was oh, he snapped.
I feel Max is literally to the point where he's just I literally do not care.
Yeah.
He's I got my championships.
Right.
I'm fine.
Right. And that's not a place that you want a driver to be. And obviously Camp is not happy seeing Max's managers screaming at him.
I mean, imagine if he's just testing it to see how much he can screw up before he gets swapped with someone else.
He's what?
Imagine, because he's just maybe I should prove that the race is true.
Yeah, genuinely. He's
because if he's underperforming Yuki, and Yuki gets swapped out though because the car is not right for him.
But apparently, actually, he might not mind that he is bad because the only way he can get out of his contract early is if it's a performance clause. So if he's not performing, no one knows what the number is, but what if it's just fifth
What if
place?
He's literally just looking for a way to retire?
Yeah, he's let me just drag this crap box.
Well, he's even said he doesn't want to do it when he's in his 30s.
Right.
He's when I hit 30, I'm done.
Right. And I think Max is obviously Oscar in the sense of just he's going to give 110% no matter what it's looking like. And I think he's still doing that. I think every quality, he's showing up, he's trying to get the most out of the car. And it is probably frustrating when the car is just not giving it back. And so to give credit where credit is due, I mean, props to Lando Norris for putting up with a car for 7 years that really has not been good at all, and sticking with the team day in, day out, when there might not have been a light at the end of the tunnel. And now,
but now that the car is good, why are you blaming it?
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
it's absolutely incredible.
There's only so much pity I can give to a driver. You know, I truly do think that Lando is a very good driver. I do, but I think that he's in his head. And we see it, like I was saying, like with other drivers like Charles Leclerc who get in their head about their racing and stuff. He still pushes.
Yes, that's my thing. I think Charles gets like
he gets that motivation,
and Lando's just like, ugh.
No, there's like you fight or you fall, and Lando's falling.
Yep.
And Charles is fighting.
And again, and even in like the pit lane situation, one thing messes up in qualifying, and dives into the pit lane, like.
And meanwhile, Charles Leclerc has a broken wing, and he's just like, I can keep going.
Exactly. And it is really that determined. You can't teach that. You can't, you can teach someone to be the best driver in the world, but you can't teach that. And so, yeah, it's just astonishing to me, even down to the George Russell.
I love him.
They get on the radio. Hey, George, like, the whole dash might go black. Like,
he's like, the steering wheel doesn't fall off.
George, the wheels might fall off. But he's like, I can keep going.
Then he got, third?
Exactly. And it's just
second that race, right?
Yeah, he got
P2. And his car did not die.
Exactly. And, if Lando was told that, it'd be like, fall over.
I think what needs to happen is that Lando needs to take advantage of George's partnership with this lawn equipment and go out and touch some grass.
Yes. Lando needs to become one with nature, realize what really matters. Like, it's
go out and touch some grass, do some meditation.
Yes. The world is not out to get you, Lando Norris, I promise. Like,
Like, George clearly thinks that mowing the lawn is very cathartic. Like, you should try it. Honestly, it is kind of, though.
And, I mean, down to, also back to the George Russell situation, when they were like, when he got the soft tires. Yeah, and that was the strategy that Mercedes made. It was the right move in the end, but before that, no one knew. And George gets on the radio. That's very audacious.
I know, it's audacious.
Yes, typical George fashion.
I love him.
Then, ever needing encouragement, like, at least George admits it, I need some encouragement. But Lando ever needing encouragement, they get on, Joseph gets on the radio. Hey, like, George is on the soft tires, like, basically saying, like, hey, like, just so you know, like, it's probably not going to work out for them. Like, keep going, buddy. And Lando gets on, oh, well, actually, I think that, George is right. They make the right decision. It's just like, and
like, Lando, can you just listen to your engineers for once? Like, you're crapping on your engineers whenever you say that the car's not doing well. You don't listen to them when they're giving you advice. You don't want to hear what they have to say when they're not giving you advice. They're just saying something else. Meanwhile, George, like, multiple seasons, I need a bit of encouragement. And they're like, okay. Like, imagine, like, the dynamic between those teams, though. Like, Oscar's just like, okay.
Exactly.
And they're like, Oscar, you're doing great, and thanks. And then they're like, Lando, you're doing great, but so-and-so's doing this. And he's like, oh my gosh, they're doing something.
No, like, Lando, you would be like, hey, like, Lando, like, we love you, you're doing amazing. And he'd be like, actually, no, I'm not. Actually, I'm the worst person in the world.
He'd be like, I actually don't deserve your love.
Yeah, exactly. Literally.
He's like, I've never deserved love from anyone in my entire life. You know what? If they knew who I really was, they would hate me.
And I told her, I literally saw a quote the other day, and I didn't think about this, but it's that there is ego and self-pity. And I really never thought about that, because I think we all get in moments of self-pity, self-deprecation, and
absolutely,
thinking that, what, actually saying this makes me sound, humble, cool. But then when you think about it, actually, no, I'm actually trying to, like, soften my own ego by kind of almost pretending like it doesn't bother me or hurting on myself. And there's still ego in that. And I don't know if Lando knows that, and I don't know if maybe he's even confused as to why he's being perceived negatively right now, because I don't like it when people just, like, think some of the things he said, because some of the things, like, you finish the quote and it's like, actually, no, that's not what he said, that's not what he was even talking about. But at this point, that's not even where we're at right now. And so I do think maybe he is even confused as to why people are upset with him. And I think because he doesn't even see in himself how he sounds. I don't know.
I think it's one of those things where, like, your ego can go one way or the other, and you either look for attention for the things that you do really well or for looking for pity. And both Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris are playing the pity party right now, because Charles is complaining non-stop about every single thing.
Right.
And Lando is beating himself up, or his team, constantly.
Right.
Meanwhile, their teammates are just vibing.
Yeah.
Like, Lewis literally does not care. He has the Met to plan. And then, like, freaking Oscar Piastri would be happy if you threw a croissant as his head and he wouldn't care. Like, he'd be like, thank you, like, free food.
Yeah. Lost his home race in the most tragic fashion ever. Won the next one. Yeah, exactly. Like,
I love how he was just like, yeah, I mean, I didn't do that great.
Exactly.
And then Lando, if he lost at his home race, though, you know,
it'd be a downward spiral for 6 months.
I'm never gonna win another race. Everything's ruined. I did a terrible job. My team hates me. Like, it's a spiral.
If things don't come up, Charles Leclerc, and if things don't come up, Lando Norris, you can tell. But at least Charles Leclerc fights through it, and you already said this, but Lando just kind of sinks to it. But yeah, but like, I think Red Flags said it, but it's like really disrespectful to your team to be so morose about everything. Yeah.
To complain about every single thing. Like, it's so disrespectful. You're getting paid to do this job.
Right.
You have a team of people behind you making sure that you are able to do the best of your ability. And you're blaming someone else. The blame shifting is really disrespectful. And it's like, if you were to blame your boss for something that you did wrong, you would get fired.
Right.
Like, imagine. Like, I can't... actually just, it irritates me so much. Because, like, then you have people who are actually doing poorly and learning their car, like Carlos. Who is just not having a good season so far. And he's still like, no, my team is doing so well. They're listening to me. I'm learning the car and they're learning from me. And, like, Alex is clearly doing well because he's familiar with the car, but he's basically reaping the benefits of Carlos's wisdom at this point. But, like...
in Australia, he lost his own race. What does he do? Not pout in the garage. No, he helps Alex to P4. Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
like,
it's just different. How you go about it is just different.
It's how you do it and how you respect the people who are working with you.
Yes. And yeah. It's just night and day. And I think, of course, Lando Norris has his fan base. I would still consider myself to be a part of it. But
I mean, you're a McLaren fan at the end of the day. You're not really worried about the drivers.
Right. But it's just like, at the same time, I'm not going to, like, pretend what's happening isn't happening. Moving on from that, can we talk about the FIA finding people for being late by going to the bathroom, having a medical excuse, but for going to the bathroom?
I know, so weird.
And I don't even
the
like
FIA
care
just
about
fines for whatever they want at this point.
That's my thing. It's like, I don't even think anyone cares about that anymore. But Carlos said it best in his interview after that, where he was like, you know, I'd be fine if they could show me, like, hey, this is where my money went to a good cause. The fact that they are so elusive to what the funds are being used for, clearly it's not being used for, like, paying for consistency, because how is it happening now? Every single race, penalties are being handed out after the checkered flag because they can't get it together within race hours. No. That's crazy.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's just like...
it's like you don't even know who's actually winning the races at this point until, like, hours after the race is finished.
Yes, because and having the vice president of the FAA step down and making a clear statement about how it's kind of falling apart. Like, I don't know how Ben is going to get reelected. I'm sure he'll find some way to, like, money launder. Yeah, exactly.
He's got all that oil money. So.
Yeah. It's just a really sad outlook for the state of the sports.
I mean, unless the GDPA comes up and, like, pushes the FIA out, they're not really gonna have fairness to the teammates.
I genuinely don't know how much movement, like, or how much.
Imagine they only find Carlos because he's the new president.
They're like, this guy is
done.
No, but genuinely,
as if they care about him any other time.
No, like, I genuinely think you're right. Like, I'm actually curious to know how much power the GDPA, if it's more of like a
is it a figurehead thing?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, where were we going?
I mean, we can talk about kind of going back to the way that Lando's complaining about his car. Is that like that the comment that Lando made about how, like, if Max was in the McLaren, he wouldn't be able to catch up. He wouldn't be able to keep up at all.
It's just, and like, then, oh my word.
And then Max coming back and be like, if I was in that car, you wouldn't see me. Literally, no one could catch up.
I genuinely rolled my eyes when I saw that. I was like, I can't deal with this
anymore. Like quit being a baby.
And the fact that, I sent it to myself. I have it, like, quoted. Oscar I feel like this maybe was his subtle way of clapping back, and he said, I'm certainly not shying away from the fact that we have the best car at the moment, and I think to say otherwise is not correct. And I was like, okay, King, put your foot down.
I mean, when your teammate is saying our car is the best, and you're like, oh man, this car.
I think, and to give credit where credit is due, I think we all know this, like we said, self-pity. He is the first to criticize himself, and if you finish the quotes, he does round it out by saying, he made mistakes. He's just not fast enough. He's just not this. He's just not that. So I do think he understands it's not him, but then honestly at this point, I don't want to say don't do media. Everybody we love. That's the part of F1 we love. Yeah, that's the part of F1 we love. We love seeing the realness of the drivers. That's why people love Lando Norris. That's why I started liking Lando Norris, because he was very real. But I think we gotta have a little bit of a middle ground of
I think there's being real, but also being professional.
Yeah,
and there's a line that he's kind of crossing where he's leaning toward unprofessional
because
it's just complaining.
I'm just bored.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with Charles Leclerc.
Yeah,
they're both just complaining.
Yeah,
and it's almost like
and I would
when you bring an
Charles
intern
Leclerc
in and they get mad because they don't get paid the same amount as a full-time employee.
Wait, yeah.
I'm so tired of doing coffee runs, dude. You make $12.
Right. Wait. Yeah. No, that's so real. And I would argue Charles Leclerc has more of a reason to complain because he's never had his time.
He's never struggled like this, though.
Yeah.
Either.
I'm just he doesn't have he's never had the opportunity to have the best car on the grid. Ever.
Right. No, his car's never been good, but he did get the preferential treatment before, and now he doesn't 100%. Have either.
100%. I'm just saying, Charles Leclerc has never had his time in the sun like Lando's having right now. Stop wasting it by complaining.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly.
Work on what you need to work on in silence. That was McLaren's motto. They're moving in silence. Well, Lando's being pretty loud.
I was going to say, did he get the memo? Because I don't think so. Oscar's just we were being loud before.
Because after when he won the race, he was I think because McLaren has sponsors in Bahrain, it's their second home race or whatever. But he was pretty big party we're all gonna have tonight, whatever.
He's I'm not going though.
Yeah, after the race, he's I'm not going. And it's just
I still have to race next week.
Right. And I just that is just the hardworking mentality,
True.
And it's just that's.
He also just doesn't seem like the type of guy who's gonna go celebrate. He's gonna go out to dinner with his girlfriend and be this was nice.
There was a video of him in Monaco last year, at a club, and him and his girlfriend were just sitting awkwardly in the corner. I was
that's
do
such
not
a
want to be there.
Yeah, such a vibe. They're we got dragged.
Yeah,
here.
Lando dragged us here by our team. Yeah,
imagine it's just they said we were going to dinner.
Yeah,
and we carpooled.
Yeah, 100%. And I love it. I think it's iconic. Yeah, genuinely.
I love him. He's so funny.
I don't think Lando has to become anything close to Oscar Piastri. Everyone's saying, is he mentally tough enough? Whatever.
Who cares?
I think Lando, that's not what it's about. It's just about...
It's doing the work.
Yeah.
It's just putting in the work.
Silently.
Yeah,
please.
Just being quiet about it. Just shut up.
Stop talking.
Please stop.
Yeah.
I'm so this tired. Is what you're doing. This is what I need you to do. That is from Masters of Disguise. It was a movie in the early 2000s. And it's so old, but there's a whole scene in it where it's this is what you're doing. This is why I need you to do it.
Andre's so iconic.
I don't think I've seen that movie in years, but I still there's some things in it. There's some things in it that just stick in your brain. But
I genuinely, I know we've been talking about McLaren a lot, but I genuinely think it's because everyone knows that is where the title fight is right now. It's either Lando losing it for himself, and I genuinely think if Oscar wins this next race, it's just going to be a statement for how the season's going to go. I think he's running away with it if Lando at this point.
I didn't realize that Max had more points than George.
Yeah, just barely.
Just barely. I mean, Oscar and Lando are really close to each other. Yeah. But
if Lando I think didn't pass George, he would have. No, if Lando didn't pass Charles, Oscar would have beaten him out.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I'm laughing because all of my picks of drivers just based off of vibes are doing so well. I can't help it.
Ocon's freaking up there.
I love him.
Ocon, what was he, 8th or something ridiculous?
He's 9th. He's 9th.
8
and freaking Lance Stroll is still ahead of Pierre Gasly and Nico Hulkenberg.
I genuinely don't know how is Lance still in the top 10.
in the
know.
He's just like, well, you can't lose points if you don't get any.
That's genuine. And the man is happy as a clam. I literally have nothing bad to say about
I've
Lance
never
Stroll.
seen him on social media so much, just
so
vibing.
funny.
Like,
He's just living
my
his own
favorite
life.
thing is that he did the trend where it's like, God forbid I use my own social media account.
Yes. And then what does he caption it? Like, I'm just an introvert. Like, it's like, okay, King. Like,
I love it. But yeah, no, like my vibe picks are doing so well. Like my fantasy teams are so full of people who would not succeed otherwise, other than George. George is my top pick on all of my teams, honestly.
And it's not in vain anymore.
No,
like,
I
the
love
man is
him.
pulling it out. Random thought: if you put Lance Stroll and Oscar Piastri in a room, would it be silent? It's kind of if a tree
They're
falls in
both
the forest, would you hear
introverted.
a
I mean,
sound?
they're both so introverted, and like they're both just there to like spend time doing what they like.
Exactly.
Like I can almost guarantee that if they were to be friends off the grid,
Yeah.
they would be like those type of friends where like they just go to like a coffee shop and sit there together and like
you're right,
just
you're right.
enjoy comfortable silence.
You're right.
Like,
You're right.
But speaking of friends off the grid, I think that Lance and Fernando are best friends. I don't think
They've
that
been,
they. I don't think anyone else is friends with their teammates, but
Yes.
they are.
I literally, yes, I 100%. Everything else I think is just PR. Everybody who tries to pretend that Lando and Oscar are best, I'm like, that's ridiculous. They're
No.
clearly coworkers.
Lance and Fernando give me the same vibes as like you and me, where like I'm the older one and
Right.
I'm like friends with you, but like I don't get half of your references.
That's literally so. Yeah, because Lance had a TikTok that he posted, and it was like, and Fernando came around. He was like, "Is this your like internet friends?" Or like,
Are these your internet friends?
like posting that. It was just like that was so.
No, it's so funny. Like when you texted me earlier and you were like, "How do you do collaboration posts on Instagram?" I'm like, "That's a thing." Like I'm such a Fernando Alonso type of person. I'm geriatric.
Wait, that's actually so funny to think about. I think I genuinely see that.
We have an Alonso Stroll friendship.
Wait, that's actually so funny. I never thought about that.
It's so
and
funny.
talking about friends on the grid, this is kind of something I just found funny. We all know Pierre and Charles are like actual friends.
Their dogs
But-
do daycare dates together.
But the fact that Charles, okay, first of all, I don't know why Pierre didn't wait till he was not like on the broadcast that's internationally broadcasted, but the fact that Pierre in the car was like, "Hey, so Charles told me during the team, you know, when they, what is it called when they drive around the track for a lap? I don't know.
I don't remember.
Charles told me earlier, let's just say driver's parade. That's what I'm
Yeah.
the word. Anyway, Pierre was like, Charles told me during the driver's parade that they're planning to do, that they think that the one-stop strategy is going to be a little bit slower, but they might still do it over the two-stop strategy, and blah, blah, whatever. But there's so much discourse about, first of all,
Should you be talking to other teams about stuff that your team's gonna do?
and the thing is that it's interesting now, because it would be one thing when if Alpine was like where Alpine's been for a while, whereas nowhere close to Ferrari. But when Ferrari is happy to get above P5, and Gasly was right next to him. He was one place above him in that race. Like,
So bad.
It's just so interesting. It's like, Charles, stop talking. Like, I don't think like you
Like,
wanna,
can you just shut up?
yeah, like actually, don't tell your rival.
I think
your,
the theme of this episode is shut up and drive.
That's what we're capturing.
That's the caption. Like, PSA, the driver should just shut up and drive.
Literally, wait.
Like, sometimes it's fine to have these conversations, but
Right.
maybe don't do it over the radio.
And genuinely, does that mean that Charles was like really kind of, I mean, we all kind of do, but Charles just like underestimated Pierre's abilities, because
I mean, for sure.
Pierre was holding back Max Verstappen until the last second on the last lap. Like, the man can drive, and arguably they have a good car now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's like, Charles needs to be careful who he's
I mean,
spilling
not only
secrets
that,
to.
but like, do you think it's just like, you know how like when you have a coworker friend and you just tell them everything, even though like it's like one of those things where he's like, I wasn't supposed to tell anyone, but I have to tell you. Like, do you think that that's the type of thing that like Charles is doing with Pierre?
Oh, 100%.
And Pierre's just like saying it because he's like, oh yeah, like my buddy told me. It's like when you tell your like mom or your husband or something, like, and you're like, oh yeah, so and so told me this, and they're like, are you supposed to know that?
Because for so long, even if Pierre had that information, it would mean nothing. But now that it kind of does mean something,
Yeah,
they both
exactly.
gonna get it. His friend Vasseur gonna be like, hey,
He's gonna be like,
shut
oh,
up.
Charles,
shut up and drive.
can you shut
Yeah.
up? But
okay,
we should do our points or no points.
Yeah, we're getting into our favorite part of the segment.
Points or no points with little to no explanation. All right, so for our upcoming race, I'm just going to go in the order that the standings are in according to F1's app because I'm cheating.
Perfect.
All right, Lando Norris, points or no points?
Points.
I think points, for sure. I mean, it would be really weird if he didn't get points, and I think it would be if he DNF'd.
Okay, I see... I'm sorry, I'm giving a little bit of an explanation. I see P2 because the team's going to do
Oscar's saying, I'm determined, and then Lando's saying,
yeah, we'll do it.
I think we'll be aiming to do it.
Right.
But Oscar's saying, I'm determined.
In those answers.
Yeah, okay.
Just really struck me, to be honest.
Yeah, so, like, yeah, I can see P2, maybe 3P. Yeah, maybe P3.
Yeah.
Good lord.
No,
I don't think he's going to be that low. He might get out of the top 3, though, because of the way that he's...
Right, the way he
vibing lately.
I know he likes, I think it has a lot of fast corners this next race, and I think he's good at those, but I just think, I think Oscar's, again, going to go...
It's the confidence level. Mm-hmm. It's that confidence. All right, Speaking of number 2 on the list is Oscar Piastri. Definitely points. I honestly can't see a race this season where he's not in the top 3.
Yeah.
I genuinely cannot.
Yeah, with his mentality and just where he's at.
And like he literally doesn't beat himself up over his performance ever. So
and
he's just
been a lot of different tracks, and he's done well at every one.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he was,
even when you can't pass the other person.
Exactly. He still passed Lewis Hamilton in the rain on the way. Yeah. So anyway, little explanation.
Max Verstappen points.
I
don't know how high though. I don't have a confidence booster on that one.
I see 4 because I think this could be similar to Japan for him, where he could pull that car up, but the car was so bad this week, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm definitely top 5.
Yeah,
but I'm not confident in where he's gonna land in there.
Right.
Just because the car is not great right now.
Right, and since Red Bull even itself is falling apart, it seems like they've always historically been good at the details. We very clearly saw all of the details were not done this race, so they couldn't even manage a pit stop. So yeah. Anyway,
all right, George Russell definitely points.
King is going to be at the party whether or not you invite him, so
he's going to be in the points no matter what. And again, I don't see him getting below P5. I genuinely don't. Like,
with his
I think
drive,
him and Max are going to be really neck and neck this whole
so interesting.
season. Not even necessarily for the top spot, but just to prove their worth.
Yeah, because
like George is only 6 points behind Max.
Yeah,
if Max doesn't podium and George does, he gets those points.
Oh yeah. Wait, this is interesting that the lower battles in the WDC could be between Max and George. I see that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one that's really going to be fighting is the teammates.
Right.
With McLaren.
And honestly, with the trajectory that Lando's going, could the WDC be between Oscar and George?
Oh my goodness, I would love that.
Like, I'm not kidding.
I would love that. I would love George
Like,
won.
it sounds like
crazy, imagine the minute that, Mercedes gets rid of their old champion and then George wins.
Yes.
Mercedes is champion again.
Right. And well, I mean, genuinely, I could see...
I would vibe with him.
A title fight between George and Oscar.
This time when George wins at Las Vegas, it won't be bypassed by another person's win.
But honestly, in typical George fashion, no one seems to notice what's happening.
I know.
Like, everyone's paying attention to Kimmy.
I know, because he's a rookie and he's doing really well as a rookie.
Right.
Which, is fair.
Of course. But arguably, he's just kind of doing what he should be doing. Kimmy, nothing wrong with it. No hate towards Kimmy. But it's just so funny to me that, we paying attention.
It's we love how he's doing the bare minimum for his job.
Yes, and George gets overshadowed again.
All the time. Whatever. All right, next is Charles Leclerc. Definitely points.
6.
7.
Yeah.
I mean, Hamilton's going to be taking up 9 or 8, so
poor Jack.
Can't get him any lower than that.
You're right.
Yeah, so definitely points. Definitely points.
I see Charles fighting for P5.
I can see that. Him and Max.
Yeah.
Neck and neck.
And they love doing that. It's kind of cute.
It's like a date.
Yeah.
All right. Kimmy, I definitely think is going to be points.
Yeah. If McLaren...
He's doing really freaking
Mercedes pulled a Ferrari for his strategy last race. Otherwise, he would have been even higher. So.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's doing really well, and I don't see him getting below P10 at all this season.
He's very confident in the car. It's cute, yeah.
Hamilton, P8. Or lower. I have no confidence in this man because I think he's worried about the Met Gala.
He's genuinely planning his outfits in the car.
He's just like, should I wear rhinestones or sequins?
Yeah. Should I do another trench coat moment?
Like,
or is that too?
Am I doing the Matrix?
Yeah.
Or am I going with like Inspector Gadget?
Who was on my not list for the celebrity?
Yes, exactly. Is my co-host gonna do a good job?
Yeah.
Do we have to match?
Yeah.
Like, you know that's his thought the whole time.
100%.
Alex Albon, I think points, but like 10.
That feels very confident, but I don't know the track
He's
enough.
not very good on quick turns.
I don't know the track enough to guess, and Williams has just been so up and down.
Yeah, but he's doing pretty well.
He's doing well.
He's doing well. He's what?
It's
eighth
just-
on the list right now.
Is the
so
team
I mean-
gonna mess it up for him again? Because they
I don't know.
kind of did that
They
to
did.
both of them. This race.
But P10 probably.
Okay, yeah, I can see it.
that.
It's not out of
He'll
the
get 1
question.
point.
Yeah.
Esteban
points.
Ocon, he is vibing, but I don't think he's gonna get points.
Yeah, I think he got lucky last time, so I'd say no points.
Yeah. Lance Stroll. I want to say no points, but I feel like he's just gonna do like every 4 races. He's just gonna do really well.
The fact that I saw in an interview Fernando Alonso was P13 or something.
And he's like, I'm so proud.
So happy. Like, is that not a statement to where Aston Martin is at? That is so sad.
So funny.
But P14,
Iconic.
I will say it again, P14 is Lance Stroll's sweet spot, so,
That's so
he'll
funny.
be somewhere below.
I know. I want him to get points just based off of the fact that I like him as a person. But like,
That's valid.
I need to make him a good luck poster that I do for all my favorite drivers. Like, my office is covered in George Russell posters.
I love that.
So
Lance
funny.
will be taking an Easter stroll again on Sunday. I think.
Oh, probably.
We love
Like,
that.
imagine Lance Stroll skips to like go to an Easter dinner
Yeah.
with his family. He just bounces.
I wanted to go to an Easter egg
He's just
hunt.
like, I really wanted ham.
It's like a billionaire Easter egg hunt where like the golden egg is like $1 million.
It's an Easter egg hunt, but everything is in a car key. Yeah, a new car.
Unlocks a new level to the trust fund.
Yes. Okay. Pierre Gasly, no points for me. I don't
Yeah,
think.
no points.
I don't think he's doing well. Like, he's not doing bad. He's just not impressing me this season.
See, he's impressing me, but I just don't think he's gonna get lucky again.
But is he only impressive because he was so bad before?
And is it only impressive because some other people are worse now?
Yeah, true. Nico Hulkenberg, no points. Ollie Bierman, I would love to see him in the
Yeah.
points. I think he had a few bad weeks, like for his first season.
And most of it wasn't
Poor
his
kid.
fault, but I think he's really proving his own. I mean, to be P20th to P10, that's a drive.
That's a good drive.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yuki Tsunoda, I think, honestly, I think he might DNF.
For his
Because I
sake.
think he's going to get irritated on this track. Because of the sharp corners. I don't think that he's going to be able to not run into someone or make himself mad.
I swear, I watched it. I was just very frustrated
he's
that
gonna
he
DNF.
didn't get a penalty along with Carlos.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, why is the guy who got hit getting a penalty?
Yeah, I was confused about that. I mean, I think it was because he didn't move right. I don't know,
But,
but
who
I
cares?
think
Like, how are you supposed to see someone coming 250 miles an hour up
right.
on your
I
tail?
genuinely think I don't know. Whatever.
I know
just
they have
hope-
to have quick reaction times, but still.
for Yuki's sake and to not have to be in a room alone with Helmut Marko, I hope he does well. But
Yeah, but I think he's gonna DNF. I think he's gonna crash.
that's actually. I don't think he's gonna crash, but I see like P12.
I hope he crashes.
You
I
know,
want to see it.
The fact that the real battle now is like, is Yuki gonna outqualify Max is just such a testament to
That's
this
so
season.
funny. Let's see, Isaac.
Oh my word, I
think he's such a sweet little bee.
I've literally
love
fallen
him.
in love with him thanks to Visa Cash App.
Did you see his cute little physics equations on his helmet?
No,
He's a little physics boy. He's a
What's
little
that?
math boy.
It's a testament to his dad
I
because I
know,
think he's
I
a
love it.
professor or something. I was like,
It's
that's
so cute. He's just a little math boy.
No, but whoever Visa Cash App's Instagram admin is, you're doing a
They're
good
crushing
job
it.
because I genuinely like.
Like, I
Isaac
literally
now.
did not care about V-Carb at all
Yeah,
before.
I could have cared less, but now I'm like, I can't wait to see their next Instagram reel.
Absolutely. All right, Carlos Sainz.
Everything, the way we're just.
Like, how do we...
I hope for his success, realistically.
I want him to get in the points, but I think he's going to be P10 if he gets anything.
P10, the way P10 is going to be a little bit even audacious. Like
It's
I see P14 for him.
it's so bad. Like, if he gets points, it's going to be 1 point.
Yeah.
And it's going to be at the expense of Ferrari again.
Yeah, and I hope it. Yeah,
And I hope it is.
one spot up on Lewis Hamilton.
Like,
again.
I hope
need to
that
see
Lewis
it.
Hamilton gets P9 and Carlos gets P8.
Aren't they? Isn't Williams like only one slot below Ferrari in point standings, which is iconic?
Let's see. I think so. No, Williams
they fell.
is quite a few
Haas.
points. No.
Wait, the way Haas is up there though. What?
Haas, that's because Ocon did really well in the last race.
Oh. This season
It's
is all over
because,
the
so
place.
like, Ferrari has 57 points, and then Haas has 20, and Williams has 19.
It's such a jump.
I like the difference between even like McLaren and Mercedes
Yeah.
is insane.
No.
So Carlos Sainz, maybe points.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe. But I'm saying leading toward no because of his performance. So far.
Yeah, the way we both just like let out such a huge sigh.
That's gonna be the clip.
Yeah.
Okay, Fernando Alonso, no points, P20.
Yeah, he's
Or 19.
and he's gonna be happy as a clam.
He's gonna be like, I still get to drive.
Wearing his bucket hats, doing his media.
Such a
pen.
dad.
Yeah, love him.
Like dad energy.
Dad energy.
Dad, not daddy.
Yeah, dad, not daddy. Let's specify.
Let's specify. Anyway, Liam Lawson, DNF.
Yeah.
He can't handle sharp turns either.
The fact he was penalized again.
Again.
What was it, like 10 seconds? Or
Something like
what
that. It was a
are we
lot.
doing back there?
Like 10 seconds is a lot.
It's
like when Max got 20.
I think two things can be true at once. Red Bull made a terrible mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Red Bull should not have done that to him. Red Bull is a hot mess. Christian needs to focus on his legal case versus what
That
the heck
is still having traction.
Exactly.
Crazy work.
But at the same time, I think it could also be said that maybe Liam isn't the best driver. So
No, I mean, he's not a bad driver, but he's not... I think F1 is too much for him. I think he should have stayed in F2 a little bit longer.
yeah,
Which is not a bad thing. He was
Right.
doing really well in F2. He and
Right.
Yuki both did really well in F2.
Right.
And Yuki's not doing badly, but I don't think that they should have gone to Red Bull for F1.
Yeah.
I think if they were on a lower level team, like Haas or Alpine or something like that,
Right.
or Sauber,
Right.
I think they would have succeeded.
See, that's
on
what
those
happened
teams.
to George. Like, George got thrown back to Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Toto basically forgot about him. But I genuinely think he learned a lot. And then by the time he got to Mercedes, he was ready.
Absolutely.
Of course, Mercedes had a bad car at the time. But on the opposite of that, I saw a stat that I didn't know. But it was the fact that Oscar, I think he's the only person to ever get back-to-back, like, F3, F4, F2. No, karting, F3, F2 championships. Like, other drivers have gotten them, but not like back-to-back.
Yeah, not back-to-back,
And like, his racecraft is genuinely amazing.
Yeah, I think if Liam and Yuki were both going to move up to F1 when they did,
Yeah.
they should have gone on lower level teams.
Yeah.
One, because Red Bull's a disaster. And two, because they needed that learning curve that a lower level team comes with.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
All right, Jack, who is getting close to the end of his 5 races from what I hear.
I heard
his contract might be longer.
I just heard that they're at least not making a decision till summer.
When they have their break.
Yeah.
That's only a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's
At the end
only,
of the
what,
day.
I was going to say, that's only, 3 more races?
Yeah. I mean,
Something like that?
3 or 4. I mean,
It's not that many.
coming up.
It's really fast.
Yeah.
It's a short amount of time.
And I think it's really gonna, because we know F1 these days is, I think, 80% how you drive, 20% what you bring socially, and just gonna come down to.
But yeah, Jack is getting no points.
Yeah, Jack is. So
No points.
We literally are not paying attention. I'm trying, and I keep elaborating.
Jack, no points.
Jack, no points.
Gabriel Bortoletto,
No points.
no points. Poor lad.
I every
like
time
him.
I see him, I think of what could have happened to Oscar Piastri if he stuck with Alpine. Like, genuinely, I think he's talented, but no one's gonna ever know because of that car.
The car is terrible.
Yeah, so.
I agree.
Hopefully Audi is good for him. Okay, so we're starting a new segment that we're going to do at the end of every episode, and it's who needs a chiropractor. Basically, who is carrying the team on their back out of the teammates of the individual teams.
So we'll just go through the teams, and then we'll just say which teammate on that team is carrying it. Who needs a chiropractor with little to no explanation?
First team, McLaren. Oscar.
I think Piastri needs a chiropractor. He is carrying it. All right, Mercedes, I think it's balanced. They're sharing the load right now.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're
I
right.
think
They're both
sharing
doing
it.
their part.
Yeah, they're sharing it.
Red Bull, obviously
Whereas
Max.
like with McLaren, like Piastri is like Atlas holding the sky above his head. Do you know Greek mythology at all? In Greek mythology, there's a god cursed to hold the sky up.
Okay.
Named Atlas.
Okay.
So that's why like
Okay.
Atlases, where it shows you the world, like a world map, is called Atlas because he's the one holding it up.
And who's the guy who's crying in the corner?
Him also. Okay, anyway.
Okay.
So Red Bull, Max.
Max,
obviously.
No explanation.
Ferrari.
Charles.
Yeah, because Hamilton has no care in the world.
Yeah, Hamilton's planning the Met. Charles is carrying the team on his back.
Yep. Haas, they don't even have a rock.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing to carry over.
They have no rocks.
Yeah.
Williams, Alex.
Yeah.
Alex is carrying that team right now. Absolutely.
Arguably, Charles is supplying the money for the chiropractor, though.
Carlos.
Wait, did I? Oh, yeah. Sorry. My turn.
Hilarious.
Yeah, Carlos is supplying the money for the chiropractor. Arguably.
Absolutely. It's Carlos's insurance, and then Alex is a dependent.
That's so real.
Okay, Aston Martin doesn't even have a rock to carry.
Over there.
They're tandeming it. Like, they're on a tandem bike and they're pedaling at the same time.
Also, they fired the chiropractor. They just got masseuses. They're like, we deserve it. We deserve a massage.
No, like, Aston Martin, they're like, it's a rock this big, and they're both like...
taking pictures of it.
They're both holding it. You know, like those pictures where people like see a rock formation and then they pretend to hold it or whatever? That's Aston Martin.
It's so funny.
Racing Bulls,
Isaac.
They forgot that they're supposed to carry anything.
I would also say Isaac, though.
I think he's definitely
the
there.
only one who's performing.
Isaac has a backpack, and Liam keeps swinging his books into it.
Liam's like, where does this go?
Yeah. He's like, can you carry my books for me?
Liam promises he'll carry it later, but never does.
Never does. Alpine, definitely Pierre.
Yeah.
I mean, Jack's not even a thought right now.
Yeah.
And then Sauber, Hulkenberg, obviously. Bortoletto's not even on the grid half the time.
And Nico is actually, yeah, he's put in some pretty impressive performances for a Sauber.
Yeah. I mean, Sauber's performance looks like when Nico carries his daughter. That's their rock right now. It's just the weight of a small child.
Circle back to Alpine for 2 seconds and just talk about how the only thing people seem to care about is how fast their hair is growing.
They're like doing it at the same time. If one of their hair grows faster than the other, they have to trim it.
People care. I'm like, oh gosh.
Like they're matching haircuts. I love that their PR team made fun of that. It's so funny. Classic.
But anyway, those are what we think. Let us know your thoughts on that segment. We're gonna try it, see how you guys like it.
Yeah, just let us know your thoughts. Honestly, comment anytime you want because like I need the validation, or else I'm gonna pull a Lando Norris and start crying about it. I'm gonna get on Instagram like Charles Leclerc and take off all my highlights, guys.
That's such like an emo move. That's
such an emo boy thing. Like I still
Leclerc.
listen to emo music, so does that count?
Yeah. But at the second I heard that, I was just like, yeah.
Sounds about right. It tracks.
Yeah, it's just like, what was me, Charles?
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, guys, we've been yapping for a while. I'm gonna have so much fun editing this, but
can't wait. 10 out of 10. I love that you do it. Not me. I'm here for the vibes.
We're very excited about this weekend. Join us very soon. We'll be yapping all over again.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for this McLaren title fight. I'm excited for this George Russell.
I'm here for him.
Yeah, everything coming up. George Russell. Whatever. Lots to talk about this season, but at the same time, arguably nothing else much is going on. Like tons of storylines, but at the same time, like it really is just kind of a McLaren world, and then whatever George Russell's picking up.
Yeah, it's kind of boring the way that like another Red Bull season would be boring.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie.
Because people are actually arguing, is it a good race when the driver like Oscar is 15 seconds ahead? Like when the car is so dominant. Right. Whatever. Anyway, we won't start yapping again, but catch us next episode. We'll talk about
and we'll yap more.
The next Grand Prix. Bye.